What is up, A team? Welcome back. Awesome here. Hope everyone's having an awesome day. I'm here to talk about Coinbase and the SEC. As we know, there's been a lot of news put out there by Brian Armstrong saying that they're actually going to go forward and sue the SEC. This is in regards to the Wells notice that they actually received here. And really, it was around hey, we have tried to work with the SEC. We've met with them over 30 times over the past few years. We spent millions of dollars trying to create regulation with them and do all these things to work with them. And they basically slapped us in our face and gave us a Wells notice. And so this article right here, which I'll put down in the link below, gives a really, really good description by Brian Armstrong and by Coinbase on everything that they've done prior to getting a Wells notice, everything that they've done to try to work with regulators, work with the SEC, Gary Gensler, to basically do right by not only the customers, but by Coinbase itself. And as you guys know, Coinbase is a publicly traded company. It is the only crypto exchange that is a publicly traded company here in the United States. And it is disappointing to sort of see this, that the SEC gave them a Wells notice after them spending countless hours and money and everything to try to comply. And so this is a really good breakdown of what everything that they did to work with the SEC. Unfortunately, the SEC still gives zero regulatory information, still gives any direction whatsoever. And so Coinbase comes out and says, you know what, we're actually going to sue the SEC and demand that they give clarification on digital assets. I do not blame them for this, because what does suck is that you spend a lot of money and energy trying to comply with what they're saying, even though there's not really any clear rule writing out there. And now they're coming back and they're saying, hey, you know what, we're actually going to sue you now. And make you give clarity on what this whole thing is. And it says, by initiating a limited action federal court to force the SEC to respond to their pending regulation petition, Coinbase has taken a significant step forward in achieving regulatory clarification for the crypto business. So this isn't just for Coinbase. This is for the entire crypto industry. I mean, everyone's sort of wanting this to come out. People want there to be regulatory clarification. You have Binance coming out and asking for this. You had the Kraken come out. I mean, Kraken's coming out multiple times. They just paid $30 million to the SEC for violations that were put out there. However, there still is zero clarification on really what is a security and what is a commodity. You guys saw that Gary Gensler was out there in front of the committee and got really beat up over what it was. And he still couldn't answer if Ethereum was a security or a commodity. Yet he still claims that there is clear rule writing, that all the rules that they have in place are able to determine whether something is a security or commodity. Yet he's not able to tell us whether that is a security or not. It's quite baffling, to be honest with you, that we have the head of the SEC still can't answer a simple question of whether Ethereum is a security or a commodity. But this basically opened up the door where it said, Coinbase just said, we've had enough. I've tried to work with you guys. You had given me zero clarity on anything that I've asked. I spent millions of dollars of our own money, legal, all that stuff to try to work with you and get that legal clarity, but nothing's ever come of it. So now we're going to force our hand here, and I do not blame them for this. And unfortunately, as you can see right here, Coinbase has gone over and secured their license in Bermuda. This came out shortly after they said that they might be leaving the United States because, again, there was just lack of clarity. So let's move off and we'll create an offshore haven to where we can actually continue our operations as an exchange, because the U.S. is not going to work with us to make sure that we can actually service our customers and make sure we're following the rules. My question is, do you blame them for this? I mean, what other steps do you take outside of having to do something like this? This is a really good thing. Obviously, we see that the SEC has gone out there and sued multiple projects, multiple companies. You have XRP fighting back. Now you got Coinbase fighting back. Now we saw an announcement today that Kraken is now pushing back on the IRS with all the things that they're requesting. So now you're starting to see a little bit of a pushback from the crypto markets here. I will say this, though. I do feel that Coinbase has a very, very good argument with this, because not only are they a publicly traded company, which, again, Gary Gensler was the head of the chair. He was the chairperson during this whole thing. He's actually the one that approved Coinbase from getting listed, even though that they know that they were offering risky assets. I mean, it's a very, very convoluted deal here. But I'm very excited to sort of see how this comes out here. It says Coinbase is of the opinion that cryptocurrency sector needs regulatory clarity as soon as possible. In spite of the fact that they may be subject to regulatory enforcement proceedings by the SEC, Coinbase and other cryptocurrency firms have not been advised of the SEC's interpretation of how the law pertains to their own operation. I mean, that's just obvious. That's the issue here. I mean, and not to get any clarity is, it's like the blind leading the blind at this point. says Coinbase is of the opinion that regulations are necessary for the industry and will pursue every possible avenue in order to gain that clarity. The legal challenges is a very modest but still important component of their demand for more clear restrictions regarding road use. I mean, you have a company out here literally spending millions of probably more dollars and time to saying, hey, we want there to be regulation. We just want you to tell us what we can and can't do so we can operate as a business and make money as a business. I don't think I've ever seen this before. A company asking for regulation from a regulator. I mean, like, dude, is that not the weirdest thing I think I've ever heard or seen? I mean, I don't know what to say. It kind of blows my mind that you have a company asking regulators for regulation. You think it'd be the other way around, right? Hey, we have too much regulation. Let's peel this back a little bit. It is very, very interesting. And if you go back and you actually look at what Coinbase has done, this is where I don't see a surprise in what happens here, is because if you don't know, they said we met with the SEC more than 30 times over 9 months, but we were doing all of this and they were actually talking to them. In December 22, we asked the SEC again for some feedback on our proposals. The SEC staff agreed to provide feedback in January 2023. In January, the day before our scheduled meeting, the SEC canceled on us and told us they would be shifting back to an enforcement investigation. We now understand that there's a disagreement with the commission itself and on how to proceed with the registration path moving forward. This is just 2 months ago. It says the investigation is still not very clear. As you guys know, the Wells notice was not very clear, and they actually came out and said that there was nothing really in the Wells notice that gave clarity on what this was all about. And they spent a lot of money trying to figure out ways that they could actually work with the SEC. And I got to say, man, what else do you do? What else do you do as a business? And unfortunately, the next step is to move forward and sue the SEC. So I guess we're going to actually find out, hopefully, that there is maybe the SEC is overstepping. Maybe we'll find some clarity with the commission and the SEC. But yeah, it's very, very interesting to sort of see how this goes. I'm really excited to see Coinbase fighting back, to see them putting their foot down, saying, you know what, dude, enough of this. Like, let's find some common ground here in the United States. Let's put some regulation where it needs to be put, and let's move forward. The SEC seems to not want to do that at all. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down below on what your thoughts are. And yeah, with all that, give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And with all that said, we're out. Peace out, everyone.